What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. You know, I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Well, I'll try not to sing. Because mostly I gab into microphones. That's my forte. And I play the records for the people that like to be entertained by the music. Yeah, you know, today on the program, Antonio Lumley. Who's Antonio Lumley? What, have you been under a rock? Well, you're going to find out in the next few minutes, so stick around for Antonio Lumley. This week's shows, let's see. On Thursday, I will be at the Old Post Barbecue in Russellville, Arkansas. That's my video dance party, karaoke jam, family friendly from 6 until 9 p.m. So excited to be back there. And this is I think this is our third week. And we were doing it every other week, but now Ray Black, the owner, he wants to do it every week. So yes. And it's his busiest night, so I'm kind of excited that I'm able to bring some business in for him and play with the people. The more, the merrier. And a lot of us are getting vaccinated, and we're taking care of each other. And we wear masks. If you want to wear a mask, you wear a mask. That's a good thing. And social distancing. Do what the scientists tell you. That's probably the smartest thing, is to pay attention to what the scientists are telling us. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. So come on out to the Old Post Barbecue Thursday night from 6 to 9, family friendly. Bring everybody to the Old Post Barbecue, 6 to 9, Thursday night, Russellville, Arkansas. Then Friday night, my regular Friday night gig. Oh, my goodness, so happy to be at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. Now, that one is the over 21. That's a full bar, kitchen's open, pool tables. They got a pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try to make some money on a Friday night, I encourage you to check out the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. Video dance party, karaoke jam, 21 and over. Yeah, drink responsibly. And then on Saturday, I got a wedding on Saturday. The reason I say it's because I'm excited. Weddings are back, baby. Oh, my goodness. I had 3 weddings this month, and I think I have 3 weddings next month. So I think I still have 1 week available if you want to book it. But, yeah, weddings are coming back. The weddings that I did last month, were mostly outside. They had tents, or there was one that was kind of a barn that was kind of open, maybe a pavilion. That was kind of cool over at Cedar Farms. And, most of the weddings I've been doing have been, kind of an outdoor setting, but covered. So if it does rain, we're still safe from the elements. So, yeah, I encourage you. If you're going to have a wedding ceremony or a wedding reception, I encourage you. Try out one of these pavilions that are made for weddings and events. I've been excited to go back and be a part of people's big days. Does that sound cheesy? It's your big day. Hey, cheesy or not, I enjoy being a part of people's weddings. I have a wedding on Saturday. I just talked to the bride today. This was their last day to set the planning form and the music request that I give to them online. And they were kind of excited. Said, hey, what if it's not on your list? Well, put it on the custom request. I will get it. Whatever song you want, I'm going to get it, especially if it's a song that you're thinking about right now. So if it's something that's so important to you, yeah, I definitely want to play the right music. I want to be an extension of you, of your personality. That's what a DJ is supposed to be. It's at a wedding anyway. At a club, hey, sometimes if the DJ has free reign, which I do, on Thursdays and Fridays, within reason. On Thursdays, I keep it family friendly. So maybe I'll play a theme or something, or just whatever people want to hear. And then on Friday night, same thing. The DJ, when I'm at a club, it's a different thing. It's my personality injected into the place. But at a wedding, I become an extension of you, or any other event, really, a corporate event, same thing. If you want to have a luau for bank party, which was great just a couple years ago, or a cowboy theme. That sounds good too. Yeah. All right, that's enough intro. Let's get into it with Antonio Lumley. I gotta say it properly. He corrected me in the beginning. Yes, I'm doing this intro after we've already spoken. But Antonio Lumley, he corrected me right at the beginning, and here I messed it up again. All right, I got him on Skype, so if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, I encourage you to check out the video version, youtube.com/user/KeysDan, or just find the Keys Dan YouTube page that has the Radio What logo right next to it. All right, let's get into it with Antonio Lumley. Skyping Antonio Lumley now.
He's Dan.
Antonio Lumley in the house. Did I pronounce that properly?
You're close. It's Lumley.
Lumley. You know,
you're close though. You were real close.
When I lived in Miami, there was a place called Lum's, and it was one of my favorite places to go. One of my favorite family restaurants. It was always a treat because we didn't go out to eat that often. But when we went to Lum's, I thought that was a great time. Are you familiar with the Lum's restaurants? I don't think they're around anymore.
I don't think they're around, but I did see somebody sent me something one time, and it said Lum's, and then I sent it out to the rest of my family, but I've never been there before.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I got you on the What Makes You Famous podcast. I've been kind of excited to hear more about you. I want my listeners to know about you. To give the people an idea, who is an Antonio Lumley?
Well, Antonio Lumley is a guy that just came from the hood of Boston, Massachusetts, and I made it out the mud, and with the help of my family and friends, and somehow I made it down here to Florida. So
you're out there in the Kissimmee area, right?
Yes, sir, I am.
I lived in Orlando, 94, 95, something like that. That's probably, well, I guess it was more like Winter Park, but it was probably as close as I can get to Kissimmee. I'm from Miami, born and raised in Miami, South Florida, the Florida Keys, which is where Keys Dan came from. But I'm stoked, man. Wait a minute, you're telling me there's the hood in Boston? I thought Boston was like this gem, this pearl of the United States, this historical landmark. The people of Boston, tea parties. America was formed in and around Boston. Tell me about the hood of Boston, the darker side.
It is all those other things that you say, but there's always another side, right? Okay. So, I grew up in the Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan area. Those who are in that area, they know what I'm talking about. South Boston area, Jamaica Plain. So, we got there's hoods everywhere,
Well, in a big city, there's going to be the people that do well, and then the strife. That's the side of town we don't go. We don't go there after dark because it's sketchy. But in all neighborhoods, all kids grow up in a certain kind of way. I grew up in Carroll City, not the greatest place, and I remember there was riots at one point in my upbringing. I guess even my pre-teens, there was riots, there was guns, there was angels. I guess they were. Some kind of angels that were on the streets trying to protect the people. And that's what we do. We try to protect each other. But, okay, growing up in the hood, did you have your circle of friends that protected you? Or?
Of course, definitely, or else I wouldn't have made it. And that my family, and I'm not trying to, crap on the hood, because the hood has a lot of great things coming out of it, too. So, you got your good and bad. That goes with every place that you live, even in the rural areas. You're going to have your good and bad, but I love my city. I love my family who's there. There's a lot of good people there, but it's a city. So,
Well, I'm 52 years old. I don't know how old of a man you are, but I remember playing outside. That was a thing that we did. You get together with your friends. Mostly it was boys. You know, every once in a while there was a girl that wanted to tag along. Maybe one of the sisters of one of your friends wanted to tag along. Can I play with you? Or their mother said, you gotta babysit your sister. I don't care what you do with your friends, but you gotta babysit your sister today. And then she has to be on the back of the bike or whatever you're doing. But did you play outside as a kid?
Absolutely, man. Hey, we played in the street. We, like my kids now. I have two kids, and they're 10 and 13, and they live in a different environment than where I grew up. So I had to teach them at an early age of how to cross the street. For us, it wasn't a big deal. Like you grew up in that. It wasn't even an afterthought. You knew how to maneuver around the streets, and we used to play football in the street, basketball in the street. There's cars everywhere, cars coming down. I mean, but we made it happen. It wasn't a big deal. You know?
Game on, game off.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. It's all we knew. So
there's a car coming. Game off. Everybody pull to the side.
Pause. Exactly. You know the rules. You pause for a little second.
Yeah. And maybe mom's watching, and maybe she's not. I figure out of the corner of her eye, looking out the window, I'm sure my mom was watching from time to time when I was a lot younger. But once I got to 9, 10 years old, my goodness, I think there were times that I would leave on a Saturday morning and she wouldn't see me until Saturday evening. And who knows what we're doing. Most of the time we're going and watching kung fu movies all day long at the local cinema, because they would let us go in at 10 in the morning or so, and then they wouldn't kick us out till about 6, because they know that we weren't going to cause any trouble, and maybe we had a couple pennies that we could put together and buy some drinks or a hot dog or whatever. But what kind of activities did you do besides the sports? What were you into as a kid in Boston?
You know what? I'm glad you brought up kung fu, because I'm a big kung fu guy. I'm old school like that, and I'm talking about the old school kung fu movies where they're flying in the air, but it's the strings that's pulling them around.
I didn't know that.
The man with the iron feet. 5 Deadly Venoms. Like, that's the kind of guy that I am. And I grew up like that. And we used to do the same thing. My dad used to take us down to Chinatown, and there used to be a 3-movie matinee. No, not a matinee, but a 3-movie deal, and we used to watch all 3 kung fu movies. Now, the floor used to be sticky. I'm not going to lie. It used to be sticky. The popcorn a little stale, but the movies were great. So that's how I base a lot of the stuff that I do with Brook and Brax off of those old images of those kung fu movies.
Well, how old a man are you? I don't know what.
Oh, I'm 48.
48. So we chewed some of the same dirt. I'm 52.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember when Bruce Lee died, and I guess you were born just about the time that he died.
Yes.
And when he died, every kung fu movie that came out in that year or a couple of years after was trying to capitalize on Bruce Lee. They would be Bruce Lee with an L-I, Bruce Lee with a sister of Bruce Lee, cousin of Bruce Lee, trying to avenge his death or something like that. Yeah. And I remember every movie like that. But you're giving me gems here. They were on strings? Yes, really? When they were flying through the air, they were on strings?
Yeah. But it was so cool back then. Like, you didn't care. All you knew is that they were flying. So,
well, I remember as a kid,
flew,
I wanted to do kung fu. I didn't want, or karate or something like that. And I remember, I think I have over the years, I have a yellow belt in so many different martial arts, because I didn't want to pay for that extra belt. I was like, I think my first one was Goju karate, and then Taekwondo with Hapkido, Filipino Cali, Aikido, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, some Thai fighting. But did you grow up doing karate type martial arts?
No, I didn't. I always wanted to, but I did Taekwondo for like 2 years. But I didn't stick with it, which is why I know karate. I don't know karate, but I do know crazy. So yeah, I do. But that was one of the reasons why I got my kids involved in martial arts, because like I wish I had that. And so as my kids have gone through, and my first boy, he started at 4 years old. He's 10 now, going on 11. So he's been in it, and my other boy the same amount of years, and they really gravitated to it, and it just really picked up my love for the martial arts again.
See, when I do these podcasts, I don't like to do a lot of research, but with you, it was pretty simple, man. I went to your YouTube page. You have 4 simple videos there, and these are like the tent poles of you. And let me peruse them, because I know that the tent poles of you have the Young Pack with Brook and Brax, which is a great tent pole, which is part of your writings, your children's books. It's Brook and Brax, and we will get to that for sure. But the one that that stood out is your Zadkiel, and I'm guessing I'm pronouncing that properly. And I had to look that up, man. Zadkiel was the righteousness of God. What a great name! If you're going to saddle somebody with a name, make it something that's strong, that will help. Shakespeare once said, "What's in a name? What's in a name?" But I do believe that a name is very important, especially when you're a kid and you're growing up with a name. They're going to pick on you. And we'll talk about that, because I know that's very, very big, bullying and things like that. That's big on you as well. But I noticed in that NFL football thing that you were very big on your child. I didn't know you had 2 children, but in that one, you definitely highlighted the NFL stylings of your one child. That was beautiful. And then the humor. Okay, I noticed that you have a very nice haircut, so I do want to give my own. I like your cut, G, and virtually slap it right now. There you go. I like your cut, G. There's not a lot of fathers. Well, I don't know. There probably are a lot of fathers, but I like a father that will have fun with their children like you do, and that shows a humorous side of you. Which one of those avenues do you want to explore first in your Antonio Lumley?
Well, the kid Zachiel is how his mother says it, because I messed his name up too. That's actually the best friend of my youngest son, and I spoke to his dad. He's retired Army. Shout out to the general there. He knows who we're talking about. But yeah, we became really close, and our kids became really close. And he asked me, he said, "Well, you got a YouTube channel. Of course we don't have we're not big or anything, but he said, would you mind?" I said, "Absolutely, I'll do that." So because I love the kid, he's a great kid, and just like you saw him, that's how he is. He is his name is strong, and he's just that strong, really, really sweet kid.
Very good.
Yeah, so that was him. But the cut G thing, it was the trend at the time. And I just got a fresh haircut, and I just thought it'd be fun to do that. But I think it's really important for us to the way I deal with my children is really how I deal with all kids, and that's it. That's you gotta bring the best out of them.
What do you think about your upbringing?
You gotta challenge them. Don't make it look. Yeah. These kids are not soft. Like you gotta really bring the best out of these kids and challenge them to be the best that they can be, so you're going to be a little bit firm on them, but at the same time, you have to have fun too. So there's duality, right? There's a word called duality. So that's what I try to do with my kids and every other child is to have the fun in there, but you got to when it's time to work, you got to work.
Yeah, there's no book of instructions, Antonio Lumley, for raising a child. I have a 28-year-old that just made me a grandpa twice. And then I have a 15-year-old that doesn't really care whether I'm there or not right now. I know that happens. The 28-year-old, she loves me again. There was a time in the middle, sometime in her teens, where she didn't know whether I was a good dude or a bad dude. But now she loves me again, and that's fatherhood.
She learned, man. They learn, like, as you grow and you get put in those same situations that your parents were. Oh yeah, you learn real quickly about what they really meant.
But are we raising our children the same way that we were raised? I got paddled quite a bit. I got shoes thrown at me by my mom. Cool, I have a Cuban mama, and ethnically or otherwise, she was the kind that if I was acting up, me and my brother fighting with each other in the living room, there's shoes flying at me, or there's pots and pans might be flying at us. You know, whatever's in her reach is going to get, you know, knocked on us. Maybe not in the head, Mom, not in the head, but certainly somewhere. You know, you're going to get a paddle on the butt.
It's a body shot. It'll be a body shot for sure.
But and then turn around, you know, with flash forward to where I'm at, raising my children. I don't think that I spank them. You know, there's been reason to spank, but I don't think that I do it. I don't have that corporal punishment anymore. How are you raising your children the same way that your mom and dad raised you?
Not, you know, I try to, in the respect of, you know, yeah, my kids did get spanked. Yeah, they definitely did. You know, as they were younger, but I used a combination. I never thought timeout would ever work. Like, I come from a place where we didn't do timeout, you know, but with them, you know, we tried it, me and my wife, and, you know, there was times it worked. And I was like, you know what, you know, you gotta kind of mix it up, because you don't want to be constantly putting your hands on your child. But at the same time, they have to understand that there's consequences for what they do, because I've seen children that have never been spanked, or never have accountability, and they go off and they'll be the worst people later, because they have never had that experience of coping with what they did wrong. You know, so I'm a big advocate of accountability. And, you know, yeah, my kids got some spankings when they were younger, but they got a lot of time out and a lot of explanation afterwards, like, hey, what did you do wrong? Why are you in timeout? That's always my first question. Yeah. Why are you in timeout? Yeah. But as they got older, man, I'm telling you, if you get your kids, if you start disciplining them when they're younger, it just fades away. They just kind of go with the program. And so it's been a long time since I ever had to do that. So, but then the other thing is what I learned from my military guy, my friend, is I started having them do push-ups and sit-ups as punishment. So they would do something wrong, and I would say, all right, well, you owe me 10 push-ups, you owe me 10 sit-ups. And I want a sir at the end of every single push-up and at the end of every single sit-up. And they were doing that. And I would tell them, hey, if you don't say sir, you got to start over again. And then I used to have fun with that. Oh, man, that used to be so fun.
Well, it sounds like you're throwing things at them, you know, trying different parenting techniques, because I didn't get paddled all the time. And I remember the paddle. For me, it was like, okay, hit me 3 times, break your paddle, and then we're done. Okay, I'm going to go out and play now, or I'm going to go do something, right? But then they tried that 3 days in the corner. Time out? You do your homework, eat your dinner in the corner. And sometimes my brother would be in that corner, and I'd be in this corner, and we'd be facing the corner. Don't talk to him. Don't look at him. Yeah, 3 days in the corner. I think that was harder than the spank, because that spank was quick.
But you know what? Nowadays, what you got to do, you got to get the kids where it hurts, right? So where does it hurt? Video games, phones, right? Taking those privileges away that they don't know is a privilege. They think that because everyone has it, that it's normal. So you start taking certain things away, and you have to. Every parent has to find their way, right? There's like you said, there's no script, there's no book. Every family is different, every person is different. So you got to kind of find what works for your situation. And I think these kids are so addicted to these video games and electronics. You start pulling that away and that social media away. Oh yeah, they're gonna feel it. And that's another way to hold them accountable. So that's another tool that people can use.
Well, you've hit that word a few times, accountability. Make the kids accountable, because we're trying to make them into people. And we're going to be accountable our whole lives. Try to be good people, upstanding citizens. Tell the truth as best you can. Occasionally, a little lie is going to slip, but okay. I'm a terrible liar. I really am. I figured that out. Because at first I want to like my wife will say, "Did you do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I did that." Oh no, I didn't do that. I'm just kidding.
Like that?
I'll get that done. No problem. I got that done.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible liar because immediately I'm going to own up to it, and I guess that's my upbringing. And I hope that my child finds the same thing. Even if her first instinct is to try to get out of trouble, own up to it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're taking your kids through martial arts. What other? I mean, how are you developing your two? Was it boys?
Yes, two boys. Yep.
Into fine men. What extracurricular activities and even in school are they doing well? What are you doing?
Yeah, my kids are doing well in school. During this whole COVID thing, they've been in homeschooling. So that was a whole, like, you can imagine how that was. And it's like that everybody had to go through some situation, like, you're debating whether you bring your kid back to school or homeschooling, if you can, because every home has its own little nuances. There could be a single parent in the home, it could be two. There could be a bad environment at home, to where that kid is kind of forced to go to school. And then it's up to the kid it's how they respond. So are they better in learning in a school environment with their friends, or can they cope with being at home and on the computer all the time? And so for us, we did homeschooling up until now. They're definitely going back in August. We're starting to get them. Yeah, they're going back, man. They got to go back. But luckily for us, I mean, their grades are good. They're honor roll students. They got straight A's, a B here and there. But my wife stays on them. My wife, she stays on them. So, luckily she does that, which kind of frees me up to do some other things.
Well, that's good. It sounds like they got the love of the two parents, and they don't know how precious that is. I mean, primarily I had a single mom growing up. Occasionally she was married. From time to time she was married. It didn't stick a lot, and she's been on the podcast as well, and she's told her whole story. So she's on number 4 right now, and this one's looking pretty good. But we're all out of the house, so it's just her and him, and I think they're gonna make it to the end on this one. But notwithstanding, my daughter has the love of two parents in the house, and that parents that love each other as well. And one thing that I did for the wife and for the child is I said, look, if after she got pregnant and she left her job and for maternity leave, I said, if you never want to go back, I'll work twice as hard to keep you at home. And then she ended up homeschooling the kid, and she's been homeschooling her all the way now until she's 15. So that's the choice that we make. And I work 3 and 4 jobs, between the DJing and the radio stuff and the podcasting. It gets a little rough sometimes, but I think it's worthwhile for the child. In that, the contrast between your child when they were out at public school, which I went through my whole life, and I think I did okay. I seem to be doing. I seem to be doing all right. I went to public school my whole life. Or her, who's been homeschooled. Do you see a contrast between your children when they were at public school, and do they want to go back to public school after homeschool?
Yeah, they definitely do. I think they they miss their kid, their friends. They miss the socializing aspect of it. I think that this was it was different, and I'm so proud of them for sticking through it and still getting good grades and stuff like that. But even I know that it's the social aspect, you can't duplicate that anywhere.
That's true.
Them being around their friends and having recess, playing, going out for sports, coming home with a bee sting or whatever, a cut, or like those things need to happen for them to develop properly, I think.
Well, it teaches them to interact with people, and they're going to have to interact with people their whole lives, unless they get one of those oddball jobs where they're in a room, looking at bacteria their whole lives. And big ups to the scientists. Big ups to the scientists, because they're the reason that we got this vaccine, or the reason I got 2 shots in my arm and I'm able to go out and play. Yay! I can go out and play.
There you go.
But unless they have that job, they're going to be interacting with people their whole lives, and that's what school starts to help them out with. I mean, other than the reading, writing, and arithmetic, you got to learn those basics as well to help you along the way. But all right, let's go back to you in Boston, growing up in the hood. How were you doing in school, and what were your major? Were you a writer back in school? Did you like English? What was your major subject? What did you like?
Yeah. Well, I mean, luckily for me, where I grew up, there was a program. Actually, my mom went through herself, because my mom had me at a very young age, about 16 years old. And this is way back then. I told you how old I am. So, this is like way back in when that was kind of a little bit taboo, particularly growing up in my grandmother's home, who was a devout Catholic Jamaican. So, they
got to forgive. I was Catholic. I was a Catholic my first 6 years. I went to Catholic school. So they got to forgive you.
That's what I'm saying. She was strict. Not with me at the time, because she got older and I was kind of like, one of the first babies coming out and everything. But yeah. So luckily for me, in Boston, they have this it's a busing program where it takes kids from the inner city and it takes them out to the suburban public schools, if you're selected. And luckily for me, I was selected. So I went out to school from Boston, and I traveled every day, got up at 5 a.m. and went to a town called Sharon. Shout out to my people out in Sharon, my people out there, man, they really took care of me out there. But I went out there for 12 years. So it's like I had 2 different, I saw 2 different worlds. I had where I lived, and then I had where I went to school. And a lot of my friends that were in the city, that went to the city schools, they were so bad back then. They were horrible. Most of them, don't get me wrong, there's a couple of private schools that were good, like Latin Academy, and a couple things like that. But for the most part, the gangs were very, very heavy back then. So it was very hard to maneuver and not get in trouble in one way or the other. Not like you're looking for trouble, but you could definitely walk upon trouble pretty quickly. So I was very fortunate to be able to have that experience of kind of seeing the best of both worlds. And I never really, I was a decent writer, but I was more into illustration and drawing. That's what I really loved.
So did you ever go into the inner city schools where you contrasted to the Sherwood schools?
I mean, when I went to Sharon, I was out there for 12 years, and we kind of developed we have a little crew. So it was like 4 or 5 of us that kind of had the same timeline from first grade all the way through 12th grade. But yeah, I had lots of friends that lived in the city that were going to the public schools there. And some of them did pretty good, and some of them not. So
yeah, I'm listening to podcasts about kids that are bussed out to the inner city, particularly back in the '60s when integration was trying to be done, and you hear stories of the black women. There was one African American woman that was talking on the podcast, and she said, "I hated going to the white schools because we were getting taken care of by the black teachers in the black schools, and she didn't like getting segregated." But me, I'm from Miami. I mean, we had all kinds, black, white, red, brown. I think my first cousin Armandito is black as midnight, and Cuban. And he's not black, he's Cuban. Hey, Cubano, So I never knew color really until like 7th grade. Somebody said, "Oh, that guy's different from you." Really? He is? Oh, yeah. Okay. But I'm guessing you growing up 1st through 12th in a school that was made, from busing.
It was predominantly white, for sure.
Predominantly white. And you say you had a crew. Was your crew Mixed?
Everyone that came from the city was black. Yeah, we all, everybody from the city was black.
And that's your crew.
But it was good because, you know, we got a chance to bond, and I'm still friends with those guys today, to this day. And like, it's a bond that, you know, could never be broken because of everything that we've been through. You know, going to school, like, think about it like this. We're up about an hour, probably 2 hours earlier. We start our day than our counterparts out there. And we get home pretty much 2 hours later. So our day was longer than everybody else who lived out in that town. And like I said, shout out to them because there's a lot of, you know, a lot of people really treated us well out there. And I'm good friends with a whole bunch of those people too, to this day. So shout out to them. But when they actually graduated, they said, you know, man, we didn't even realize at the time what you guys were doing all those years. And so it took a lot of commitment from us as individuals, and then our parents and people around us who wanted to see us succeed. So, yeah.
And do you feel like it helped you? You feel like you got a better education than all the kids around you? Yeah?
100%. 100%. I would not be who I am today without those two experiences.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad that you had that. And I wonder, you know, kids are cruel anyway. Did you experience any hardships? Being a kid from the inner city. Oh, he's a city boy. We're out here in the burbs. Yeah.
Keys Dan, of course, you already know that. Yeah, like, you know, we would come home and and obviously, you know, the curriculum is different. So you tend to talk as your curriculum is. You know what I mean? So we would go back to the city, and you know, some people could tell, but you know, people in our neighborhood, you know, it was kind of close knit, at least at one point, and so they knew that we were getting bussed out to the suburbs and whatnot. But you know, I love. See, here's the thing with me. I love to talk about race. You know, people shy away from that. Not me. I'm always willing to have a conversation about it because one thing I learned by experiencing those different things and others, you know, when I went to college and whatnot, is, you know, it's not about color. It took me a while to figure it out. It's not about color. It's about your character. It's about do you have good intentions towards me or bad intentions? And that could be any color, right? Right?
Yeah, you're not lying. You're preaching to the choir, man.
I'm considered black. You know, my mom is Jamaican, my dad is Cape Verdean.
Wait a minute. Stop the presses. Stop the presses.
Cape Verdean peoples, Cabo Verde.
You black?
But, huh?
You black? Stop the presses.
Yeah, but you know what? The Spanish, you know, the Latinos think I'm Spanish, right? So I get you know, but when I go fill out my resume, right? I'm not Latino, I'm not white, I'm not Native American, right? I'm not Asian. What other options do I have?
Man, right? I went to go get this COVID shot, okay? And I'm looking at this is the first time I had to fill something out in a long time. And I'm looking white, Hispanic. What box you want me to be in? So I checked them both. I don't know. You know,
can't go wrong with both of them.
I guess, you know, I'm half Cuban, half Irish. Okay, so
right. There you go.
I don't think anybody is one thing anymore. Talking about race, everybody is everything now, man. Who's purebred? What are you, some kind of Dalmatian, or they pure breed you? Anybody who is purebred is going to be as I think. The thoroughbred or the purebreds, they start to weaken after a while, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to intermix to keep the strength up. I don't get it, man. But the reason we segregate is so we can keep our cultures separate. That's the argument on that side. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't get caught up in that, man. I learned not to get caught up in that, man. Because guess what? I know some black people that really love me. I know some black people that probably don't. I know white people that love me. I know some whites that probably don't. So that's my separation, you know, is I'm on this side. If you're down for me and you're down for what I'm doing, you're down for my cause, and you're down for, you know, making improvements and making things good and making things right. That's the side. I don't care what color you're on. You can come on that side. But then there's that other side to where, okay, I see that that you have bad intentions, then I'm going to go the other way.
Yeah, I like you already, Antonio Lumley. I just met you, man, and I'm enjoying you. But, okay, here's a word that I learned just probably over the last year was code switch. When you came back from the suburbs and you had to talk to your boys in the inner city, did you code switch? Did you go back to a different kind of talk?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, of course I did. You have to. But see, I look at it as being adaptable. You know, so when I'm in the city, I move a certain way. When I'm out there, I move a certain way. I'm the same guy, but it's just that I can adapt to my environment. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's in the Bible, man. That was kind of a trick question. You got to be the Christian to the Christian. You got to be the Jew to the Jew. You got to be if you're going to talk to somebody and have a real conversation, you got to be on that level, be able to see from that side. People could accuse me of different things all the time. My Republican Trump-loving father-in-law will accuse me of being a liberal. And I go, but I don't like everything the Democrats are doing. And I don't like everything that the Republicans are doing. I'm going to stay right down the middle, because I like a little from column A and a little from column B, and we'll all have a meal right here down the middle.
Yeah.
I think most people, the far right and the far left, really the ones causing the trouble. Most people just want to live, man.
Yeah.
I'll just take care of each other. Take care of yourself, and then try to take care of somebody else.
Being pigeonholed, like that's my thing. Like don't pigeonhole me, because I can be multiple things. I don't fit in just one box. I fit in I can bounce from box to box.
Yeah. I don't think anybody does, man. I don't think anybody does. Nobody believes, and if you do, hey, more power to you. Nobody believes everything that the Republican Party or the Democrat Party or liberal or conservative. Nobody believes everything that's on those boxes. Speaking of checking boxes, and I know we went from race to politics, but sometimes when people try to put me in a box, I'm just me. I want to learn things. This What Makes You Famous podcast is primarily a learning podcast. I'm learning from Antonio Lumley right now, how you grew up and how you became the man you are. And that's what I want right now.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, coming out, you were learning how to draw in school. And how far out of, when you got out of high school, did you stay in Boston and go to college, or did you straight to Kissimmee?
I went to college. I went to UMass Amherst for a couple years before I got kicked out.
What you want to be when you grow up? What was your interest?
But Keys, Dan, I studied engineering for a couple years. The curriculum was hard, but I can't lie. I was messing around. I was partying. Doing all the things that an 18-year-old does, and I got put on academic probation. And so I had to sit out for about, I think it's a semester or two or something like that.
Hey, I went to college a bunch of times. The first time was at Broward College, trying to do psychology and communications. What did I end up doing? I got a little bit of the radio stuff. That was fun, but mostly I was DJing parties for the fraternities. Or not the fraternities, but DJing parties in the cafeteria.
I
That's
can
me.
see you doing that too. I can definitely see you doing that.
That's what I was doing back in '86, and I'm still doing it right now. I got a party on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So there's my other jobs that I was talking about.
Man.
But I enjoy it.
You had to hone your skills like that. That was part of honing your skills.
Well, what made you want to go into? What made you want to go into engineering? Did you have an aptitude for it? Or
because I've always loved math, and I loved visual things, And then when I was younger, I wanted to build cars. That was my thing, but I never really got into that.
Oh.
So I went to school, and then when I got kicked out, I went to go work, at a low-paying job, and I thought I was making money. I realized I wasn't. Then I stumbled upon a construction training program, and then that's when I went through that program. I got serious, and I ended up getting a full scholarship to Wentworth Institute of Technology. Shout out to WIT. And when I went back there, I was serious because I already made my mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. So when I went there, man, there wasn't no partying, nothing. I was strictly about my books. And, I'd eat lunch in the library. That's how dedicated I was. And I graduated and then been in construction ever since. And somehow I wanted to start a book company. And that's where we're at.
So yeah, the construction thing that was at the Institute of Technology. You learned how to be like what kind of construction?
Yeah. Right now, like what I've been doing heavy civil construction since 1999, and so we were building bridges on the Big Dig up in Boston, and so I learned a whole lot there, and a lot of that was all engineer relating, things. Obviously, because you got the safety of the public. You're riding your vehicle on a bridge, and it needs to be right. So
heck yeah,
I learned a whole lot there.
I just heard a podcast about a bridge that was swaying back and forth. Like, what did they call it? Like dancing medulla or something like that. It had a weird name, and then finally, 6 months later, it fell right down.
Yeah. It's not supposed to move like that. Yeah.
No, that is the people were saying I was in my car and I could see the ground at times driving down
Sounds like a Disney ride.
Oh my gosh! So yeah, you have. That's a very big responsibility. How high up in that are you involved with the designing or the construction?
Not the designing side. No, I was always on the construction side. Going out there and now, I was a laborer, and I used to do manual labor back when before I got to management. But once I got to management, then it's just about supervising, putting people in the right positions, doing quality control type of things, and just learning.
I like that you went up through it though. People need to start in manual labor. People need to wash dishes for a little while. My first real job was at Garcia's Mexican restaurant, Garcia's of Scottsdale, and it was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I remember I would be there till 2 a.m, having to get up at 5 a.m. to go to school. So I'm 16 years old. Of course, that job didn't last but 2 weeks. But scraping cheese off of stuff, and you need to have a manual labor job to figure out. Oh, okay, humble yourself. To figure out that you could be doing this kind of work, but then work your way up through the ranks, which is what you did. I'm guessing you went through some more school to get some training to be a supervisor, and now you're teaching the people how to do these things.
Yeah, and now I'm with a great company right now, and that's my full-time job. Xtatic Books is my part-time job, and I try to tell people that because they think I'm just like I'm just sitting around writing books all day. I don't have time to do that, to be honest with you.
No, I get you. People hear me on
that's my night work. That's my weekends. So.
No, people hear me on this podcast so much they go, "Wow, you do that all the time. You talking to microphones all the time." No, I got a day job. That's my insurance job. The DJing thing. Yeah, it's a real company. It's incorporated, but hey, that's my fun job, and it's my bread and butter job too. Extra cheese, a little extra cheese. So
it's all about the bread and butter, man. Bread and butter comes first. So
well, it's good that you're hustling. But when did you find out that you had the aptitude to write books, and even more in particular, it's children's books, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
well,
sir,
tell me about that.
Yeah, it was the most random thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I would love to sit up here and tell you that I've been dreaming about this for years and I had plans from 2 decades ago. No, it didn't happen that way. It happened on a trip to Mexico. I couldn't sleep.
What year?
This was 2018.
So recently, okay.
Yeah, it was like 3 years ago, less than 3 years ago. And I was at my brother-in-law's wedding, and we were in Mexico. I mean, it was beautiful, but the bed was it was uncomfortable. And I kept rolling. You ever been in a bed that kind of it sinks in the middle? It's like concave. So you're on the edge and you keep rolling. You keep rolling towards the middle.
I'm a big fat guy. My bed is like that. I broke my bed. Okay, I need to lose some weight. I get it.
Dude, I could not sleep, man. And so I was just up, and I'm like, out of nowhere, it was like an epiphany. I just said, but what if I wrote a children's book? And it happened just like that.
Like
I can't. Just like that, man.
Who tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Write a children's book"?
No, you know what? Because I was thinking I wanted to do something different. I've been in construction for so long. I was thinking about opening up my own construction company, different things like that. But I just thought, I'm like, I want to do something out of my lane, out of my comfort zone. And the thought just came to me, and I just ran with it.
Well, that is different. I'll say from 2018 in Mexico, and congratulations to your friend on their wedding. Are they doing okay? Everything
They're doing
good?
great. They just have a baby, so they're doing shout out to Goose. Yeah.
Fantastic. So what do you think sparked it? You said you wanted to do something different, and all of a sudden, bam, children's book. What put that in your head?
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking children's book, but at the same time, I was more thinking characters.
Okay.
So I was thinking, all right, who can I use? What could be a storyline, right? And so I came up with my young son and his best friend at the time. They were actually in martial arts class, and I remember a picture of them sitting next to each other. And so they're in dojo. They got their gis on and everything, and Sensei. Shout out to Sensei Joe, by the way. He was teaching his class, and these are young kids, right? So they're talking here and there, but Sensei Joe doesn't play. So, but they were still trying to, because they're kids. And I thought about it, and I said, what if I use those two as the model for a fiction book? And these are the kids right here. You got one of them that like this. So this is Brooke and this is Brax. And my friend's son, he's Hispanic, and he's got fluffy hair just like that. So
for people that are listening to the audio version only, I want you to check out the video version. He's got a T-shirt. I mean, the man's already merchandising. So yeah, that's where the real money's made. Okay, people don't read books. They want to see it. They want a T-shirt. So at the very least, support the man on the T-shirt. But there's a young man has dark hair, kind of a darker complexion, and then there's a young man that has light hair, blonde hair, big afro blonde hair, and then lighter complexion, and that's Brooke and Brax.
Yes,
and for those that haven't checked out your YouTube video, I'll put the links in the show notes, of course. There's a video on your YouTube by Young Pack about Brooke and Brax, and it starts off. I'm guessing that is Sensei Joe in the beginning of that video.
Sensei Joe, yeah.
How did
Sensei Joe don't play, man.
Well,
but
yeah.
He's such a good teacher to where, he can he really impacted my kids. So I thank him for that. Because again, we go back to the parenting aspect, right? Of what me and my wife are trying to accomplish, and then you have that double whammy of somebody who is disciplined and focused and trying to teach you something. But although you get skills of how to defend yourself, you get skills on how to stop an attack and all that stuff. But at the same time, those are more life lessons than so it really coincided with everything else that we were trying to do. So I couldn't ask for a better pairing of that. So.
Well, what's the martial art that he teaches? Because he's somewhere in. All right, I'm a Karate Kid guy myself.
Yeah.
Being Daniel-san, he's somewhere in the middle of John Kreese and Miyagi. Somewhere in the middle there. Maybe a little more John Kreese in the beginning, and then a little more Miyagi towards the end of his little bit in the beginning of that.
Now that was we kind of staged that first one. Like he's not like that was kind of staged at first. It was just for the video. But so what I'm saying, he's not like that. He's not like so Cobra Kai-ish like that. But
by the way, if you have Netflix, check out the Cobra Kai, man. I'm a fan.
Yeah, you got to check out Cobra Kai. I can't wait for the next season.
Oh my gosh, what can they do next?
I was watching that thing.
What can they do next, man? I definitely binged watched it myself, and that's the thing, But oh my goodness, so what? Yes, the first thing we do when we're trying to advertise or help us to get to the next level is we tap on our friends, and I'm glad you had a friend in Joe and even a Young Pack. How did he get involved in this?
All right, so let me tell you about Young Pack. So Young Pack is my nephew. And he's an inspiring rapper, or aspiring rapper rather, and he's got a bunch of songs on SoundCloud. He's got a couple songs on YouTube, Spotify. But here's the thing, and I want everybody to know this: it's not for kids. You know, the stuff that he does on his own is not for kids. I like some of it. Don't get me wrong. I like it, which is why I hired him. So the deal that me and him have is that, you know, whatever he does with the Xtatic books, it's got to be clean. It's got to be clean. So Keys Dan, I want to ask you something, man. And you tell me, you're a DJ, so you know better than anybody. I would love for you to tell me or point me towards a hip hop song, because I love hip hop. I grew up off hip hop. A hip hop song that doesn't talk about drugs, it doesn't talk about women, it doesn't talk about sex, it doesn't talk about guns, it doesn't talk about money, and that you really like. Tell me one.
Well, that was how hip hop started in the 80s. It was I'm the best from the east to the west. I got the mouth from the north to the south. It wasn't about, you know, defiling people or shooting people. Music. It was so clean. The 80s were wonderful. And I can't brag. I'm class of 86, man. I have my heart is at the beginning, you know, when
I'm with you.
You know, Rapper's Delight and even Cool Mo D and you know, LL in the beginning, you know,
Rick and all
Slick Rick. Slick Rick got a little. He got a little naughty. A children's story and
but you know, but compared to now,
compared to now, he is tame as a little kitten. Yeah. Oh my goodness! But yeah, you know, occasionally when I'm doing a Friday night party, I get to pick the music I want, and I go, we're going old school today, and you know, and we'll start with Crush Groove, all the music from there, and work our way out from it, you know. But I still believe Crush Groove is going to beat E.T. eventually. I know that's not my line. That's Matt Damon in a movie. He was saying, it was Dogma, one of the Kevin Smith movies, and he was talking with Ben Affleck, and they were both playing angels, and he says Crush Groove is still going to beat E.T. in the long run. You mark my words. And then he goes, you know, whose house runs house?
Runs house.
Whose house? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So old school. That hip hop, and then it made a change. I know 2 Live Crew. They were in the 80s too, and they had you know, me being from South Florida. I know that they
changed it.
That NWA, probably changed.
NWA changed it. Yeah.
NWA for sure. East Coast. It's 2 Live Crew. West Coast. It's NWA. Yeah, Those two were doing their own thing and really expanding hip hop. Yes. To where there's no rules. I don't care if I get airplay. I don't give up if I get airplay.
Right.
I'm just gonna do what I want.
That's right.
Yeah. So I don't know how do you feel about the new hip hop? Because I you know, sometimes I think I'm too old to DJ, but then I'll do a prom or a Sweet 16 or a kids party, and they'll go, "You did great," and I was like, okay, I guess I can keep doing this, you know. So I have imposter syndrome from time to time, you know. But you know, what do you think of hip hop today? Is there anything good? What do you like?
That's a good question. Here's what I would say. All right, so just so everybody understands me, I'm a '90s hip hop guy. Like that was my favorite era. Was the '90s. My favorite rapper of all time is Nas, by the way. So that kind of tells you kind of where I'm at. And I used to like him so much, and I still do. He just came out with a song with Khaled the other day and Jay-Z. I really like that song. But his wordplay, his how he bounces his words around, the synonyms, the adjectives, like he just really painted a certain type of picture, and so he's always been my favorite rapper. And so I'm gonna start with that. But to the new generation, it took me a while to adjust. I'm not gonna lie. Mm-hmm. It took me a while because to go from what I like so much to the mumble rap, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it for a long time.
Does it all have the same rhythm?
And they were so copycatish. It's like nobody really, in my mind, coming from where my era, you had to be so different from the other guy in order to just get recognized.
Oh yeah.
Nowadays, it's like everybody kind of sounds the same, but I've accepted it a lot more over the past few years. I opened my mind up to it, and I do like a lot of their stuff.
Oh yeah,
I do like a lot of this stuff.
there's some good beats. There's definitely some good beats.
Instrumentals, yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what's funny is when I was doing some proms and there was oh man, there's one song maybe 10, 15 years ago called "Nuck If You Buck."
Yeah, oh, yeah, I remember.
And I could not clean it up for the life of me for this prom. So I found an instrumental version. I put it on, and the kids were going, hey, where's the words? I said, what do you like about this song? The beat? Well, there's the beat. Your teacher don't want to hear that stuff, man. I mean, if it was your party at your house, maybe I'll bend the rules a little bit. But it's good for your soul, man.
Absolutely.
In Jamaica, you being from Jamaica Town there in Boston, there was a Jamaica Town that you used to talk about, that you just talked about. In Jamaica, their version of the FCC, if you have to make a song that has to be edited, they're not going to play it on their airwaves, ever.
Right.
You have to have a song clean from the start.
Right. And see, but see that's the challenge. So I'm actually working with Young Pac. He's actually doing 2 more songs for me this weekend for some stuff we got upcoming. And again, it's going to be clean. So parents, you don't have to worry about that with anything coming from Xtatic. But at the same time, I still like that hardcore edge. So it's a fine line. Look, we're not doing. I'm gonna be honest. Like, we're not. If you're looking for tulips and roses and unicorns, that's not our lane, because we're more like in touch with the kids, like looking at what the kids are doing. What are the kids listening to? Okay, well, how can we make that better? How can we make it so a parent can walk out the room and feel safe with their kids looking at that type of content?
Yeah.
So that's what we're. But at the same time, I still need that edge. It has to be. It has to bump for me. It has to thump for me. So.
All right. Little known, thing about me. I grew up in the church. I was Catholic. I've been through the gambit. I've been to a Baptist. I've been to Jehovah's Witness. Been to Jewish. I've been to, I've been all through. Talked to Mormons. I've been through all through it. But I didn't want to be hypocritical, so I'm not in the church anymore. I never go to church because I still like my action movies. I still like, if you go to a church, you can't watch that kind of movie. No, I want to watch that kind of movie. I want to listen to that kind of music. And I'll do a family-oriented show on Thursday night at the Old Post in Russellville, and then on Friday night, I do my adults-only show at the Rab in Conway. So I have my dichotomy. Yeah, this one, I limit myself to clean. This one, no limits. No limits at all. So, it's a struggle to keep your soul, in tune. And by the same token, ever since I got on the radio, which was 1986, I really haven't cursed at all. Not even outside, not even off the radio. I stopped myself from cursing. I feel like, sometimes if I hit my thumb, but I don't curse, man, and that's just me. But my brother curses like a sailor, mostly because he was a sailor.
I know people like that.
But how do you and you having 2 small children, you probably curb yourself a little bit.
Oh, I have to. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not a saint.
Exactly.
Don't get me wrong.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to paint a picture like I'm a saint. I'm not. But at the same time, I know when to be in one lane and when not to be. So when I'm around my kids, no, I don't. I don't curse. But when I'm at an adult party and we're doing adult things, it is what it is. So
yeah, you just try to be a good person, and I can tell.
Of course,
I can tell already, man. You're a good person. You're good. And tell me about the karate. Tell me about the story of Brooke and Brax and the contrast in their ideals. Is Brooke and Brax the same kind of people, or do they have different ideas about life?
Well, here's the thing. So Brooke and Brax actually met each other when they were in first grade, and Brooke was this. On the thing, this guy.
The brunette or the blonde? Which one's Brooke?
The black kid. The black kid.
Okay.
He looks like the brown kid. Let's call him Brown.
Okay, Brown.
Yeah, that's Brooke. So his dad is black, and his mom is Chinese. And then Brax, his dad is white, and his mom is Mexican. And then they have a sensei who's Japanese, and she has a daughter who, obviously his daughter is Japanese, and that's Sensei Nakari. So my whole point with this whole thing, again, this goes back to our early conversation of talking about race, right? I don't care about race. Like, I really don't. And so through these characters, I made them so diverse so that I can attract all types of kids, and that some kid can see something in those characters, and I make it to the point to where race doesn't even exist. It's a fight between good and evil. And so I have these kids, they get bullied, and they somehow stumble upon the great Sensei Iron Post, and they beg him to teach them martial arts, how to protect themselves. And eventually he does, of course. And then they become martial arts experts. They become black belts. And then from there, they're presented these magical ninja suits, which actually transform into their backpacks. So that's why when you see their backpacks, we always get the backpacks looking good. And they also have a belt buckle, which combines with their ninja suit. So in other words, so it's like they have a superhero form. And so they jump in and out, and then they could, take care of bullies where they need to. They protect others. So the storyline is about youth empowerment, anti-bullying, martial arts, having fun. We try to have fun in the book. I try to make as many jokes as I possibly can to make it humorous, to make them, to engage the kids, right? But here's the other thing. Here's the caveat to this whole thing. This goes back to my illustrator side. What I decided to do was to put a comic book illustration at the end of each chapter to kind of summarize that chapter. So now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to pull in those kids that typically don't like to read so much. Okay, well, go check. We got some cool illustrations in there. Go check it out. Some comic book style in there. So now I'm trying to gather as many different type of kids, depending on what you want. If you want to read, if you like illustrations, you like comics, we have it all. So
I think these stories lend themselves to graphic novels. I think you're heading in that direction, and movie rights, television shows, IP. Come on, people.
He's Dan. I'm going to tell you something right now. These characters are meant for animation.
Yeah.
When I wrote the first book, I pictured every scene that I wrote. I pictured that happening. And it's the same thing for book 2, but this time around, I'm working on book 2 right now. This time around, we're actually going to be doing some animation. So I'm going to have like a little animation teaser coming out probably towards the end of the summer. And you're going to see these dynamic kids in action, and watch out.
Are you doing all the drawing yourself?
Absolutely not. Because
what? I thought you were adept in that.
When I thought I was good in high school, but then when I got out, I'm like, man, I'm not nearly as good as these other people. Okay, all right. So I got my buddy. His name is Mark Renee from California. He does all of our illustrations. This guy is sick. You see some of the stuff that he does, and the colorful patterns that he does. He's nasty. So I'm not doing the illustrating. I'm doing writing.
Very good. Well, I mean, ink, was it in the comic books? I remember there was always words by Antonio Lumley, and then ink by, what was your friend?
Mark Renee.
Mark Renee. Excellent.
Mark.
While you were talking about, racism and stuff, I'm attributing this to Morgan Freeman. I believe he said it. And one of my favorite Morgan Freeman quotes, whether he said it or not, I hope he said it. He said, "You want to stop racism? Stop talking about it. We're all people, man. We're all here living on this earth together. Yeah. We all came from Africa. If you believe in the Bible, we came from Africa, somewhere around there. Yeah. If you believe in creation or evolution, we all came from Africa. know. So I guess does Brooke and Brax, do they deal with bullying, or what kind of things are they doing to save the day? Who are they looking out? Because
so in book 1 there's these 2 bullies, and I try to get make things a little funny. So the bullies' names are Puke and Little Dumps, and Puke is a white kid with pimples, and he's got his hair kind of goes up in the shape of fire, and his henchman is called Lil Dumps, the black kid with the poofy hair, and he's an inspiring rapper, but his raps are trash. So this goes back. so you see how I intermingled a bunch of things that are familiar to me.
Yeah.
I intermingled it in the characters.
These are things you grew up with.
Absolutely.
Do you think you grew up with more of a Brooks and Brax or the pimple guy? Who did you grow up with in Boston mostly, or did you know all those kids?
I knew all those kids. It's a combination. It's a combination of different kids, and a combination of different experiences that I had. Like, there was a few bullying experiences that I was, on the wrong end of that I put in the book. There's a character in the book, and this is really really key for us too. Is his name is Anthony, and he was in a wheelchair, and he was getting bullied, and then by two bullies actually, and Brooke and Brax came and helped him out a little bit, and he grabbed a branch at the end of it, and then he started whooping the bullies. The kid in the wheelchair he started whooping the bullies with the branch to give him his power. You know what I mean? And so Brooke and Brax, they stick up for kids. They show that, hey, it's okay to stick up for others. It's okay to, if you see something wrong, go do something about it, or go tell somebody. If you don't want to do anything about it, go tell somebody.
Man,
that can do something about it.
All right.
So, yeah.
How do people get a hold of this book? How do they get their hands on it? And are you currently working on book 2 right now? I haven't even read book 1, and I'm already thinking I'm salivating for book 2. Talk about binge watching. Put it out in the universe. Come on, Netflix, throw some of those
come on, Netflix,
millions.
Come on. I got it.
Throw some of that money this way. I think Antonio Lumley's got some IP for you.
I got the formula.
It's a hit show already, man. You got superheroes. You got kids of all races. Just intermixing
abilities
abilities.
Yeah, like when in book 2. That kid, I'm going to give you a sneak preview. That kid, Anthony, that's in a wheelchair.
Okay.
He's going to be a major character. And again, these are things that hit home for me because I had a cousin that was in a wheelchair. His name was Stanley, and he passed away at the age of 19 in a wheelchair. And we were very, very close. So again, there's certain little things in the book that I take from my own personal experiences in my own life. And I put it in there, and I try to make, again, I don't want it to be too serious for the kids, so you got to kind of mix it in a certain way where it's not too serious, but they still get the point.
Antonio Lumley, I've never been much of a writer, but I've always heard write what you know, and it sounds like you've written what you know, taken experiences from your own life and put them and making an amalgamation of maybe different people and put them into your characters. Man, I think there's only one way to go is up, man, and that's. I
hope so. That's what we're shooting for the stars.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you may not want to give up your construction job because that's an important job too. But Xtatic Books, I mean, I think that's going to be some extra cheese for a while. So, how do people get a hold of the books, and how do people get a hold of you? If and what kind of what's on the horizon besides book 2? We already know that's coming. What's on the horizon for Antonio Lumley?
Okay, very good question. So on the horizon, what we're working on now, we have book 2 coming out. Hopefully, I can get that out. If not late summer, in the fall. We've got a brand new song coming out featuring Young Pack, along with the music video. It's going to be it's geared around anti-bullying. I've got an animation coming out, about a 1 minute to a minute 30-second teaser, kind of showing our characters in action. We're going to have a remix of the first song along with that. And anything that I can do until then, we put out certain illustrations on certain events just to kind of put our characters out there, make them very aware of our characters. I'm getting the girls involved. We got Akari. She's the daughter of Sensei Ayapo. She is bad badass. Can I say badass?
I don't know. It's your podcast.
Okay. She's very, very good at what she does. And so we need the girls to come on over and check it out, because even in my kids' dojo, the girls are so strong, beating the boys. So let's not. Yeah.
I think there was a TV show with this guy. It was Kramer. Kramer went to this dojo, and there were little like 10-year-olds and 9-year-olds. He goes, I'm dominating everybody. so I think I could dominate these little 9-year-olds. Come on now. No, but if you say they're doing good, man, I'm a firm believer in martial arts. I think the little bit that I learned, especially Taekwondo and even the Goju USA that I was in, I think those were some good times. And the Taekwondo was a little bit later in life, and the sense this I was probably in my early 20s, and the sensei he kept saying, okay, do the split, like a Van Damme split. And then he would push my butt down. Get you down, and I got like barely off the ground, pushing me down. And I mean, besides that, the good teachings and the bowing and the tradition, the respect. Yeah, I got all that. So having part of that as being injected into your stories, that's part of it, and then taking that respect and turning into life lessons as well. Hey, more power to you, man. You're helping to raise those kids, man. Some parents, and we've talked about it in the beginning, we don't have a book of instructions. So some of them put their hands up in the air. That kid's bad. I have no idea on how to make that kid good, and you're helping. You make them into the heroes that they could be. Give them their full potential.
Everyday heroes, man. The everyday heroes.
Absolutely. Well, everything is. I guess everything is on your xtaticbooks.com. X with an X starts with an X, and I'll put this in the show notes as well. But it's Xtatic books.com, and then you have your links to your social medias as well.
Social medias, you can buy the book there. We have a free anti-bullies handbook. It's like a 6-page thing that addresses different types of aspects of bullying, cyberbullying, verbal bullying, mental bullying, and physical bullying. And the characters in our book, they like the physical bullying part.
Well, I mean, as we break out of coronavirus, are there any do you have book signings on the horizon? Maybe. Possibly. Are there any bookstores still open? I don't know. Everything's Amazon now.
Yeah, everything's Amazon, and I can't lie, I use Amazon quite a bit. But you can get the book there, Brooklyn Bracks and Undercover Ninjas.
Absolutely. Oh, and I look forward to hearing more from Young Pack. I want to play a little bit of his song, song there that you had.
Okay.
It's that Brooklyn Brass, BK and BX. We on, we next. Backpack, belt buckle, we strong, we flex. Oh, gotta hit on with that Brooklyn Brax. Bully stole all
That part got me.
Hit him with that Brooklyn Brass.
So good. And the beat is nice. Who made the beat? Was that somebody that you just found a beat online somewhere?
Yeah, I found a beat.
Very good. Well, he's a Young Pack, very up and coming rapper
Young
as
Pack,
well.
Watch out for him. He's 20 years old. He's in college. He's doing good things. So I'm just trying to help him build up his brand, and he's helping me to build up my brand. And everything that we're doing is clean at Xtatic Books. So
yeah, when I was working on radio down in Miami, I met a guy named Armando, and turns out he was Pitbull. Just like a year later, he was Pitbull. He's been Pitbull for Mr. 305 for a long time.
Mr. 3. Yeah,
and I met him like in the early 2000s, if I'm not mistaken, down when I was in Exito 105.5 in Miami, and then he really blew up from 305 to worldwide. So you never know. So Young Pack, look out for that young man. And as he gets further in. And Antonio Lumley, man. And I'm glad that you gave shout-outs to people along the way. At this point, as we wind down, as we park this car in the garage, I want you to give shout-outs to the people that have helped you along the way, and then we'll close this thing up, man.
Shout out to my family, number one. Well, first of all, shout out to God. We all know that, right? Shout out to God. But shout out to my family, my mom, my dad. And when it comes to obviously my family, my wife, my kids, but when it comes to this book stuff, Mark Renee is instrumental in everything that I do. The guy is super, super talented, super professional. You guys, I would suggest reaching out to him. Once he's done with my stuff, you can reach out to him for your stuff. Shout out to Jeremy Wooten, who's working on my animation. He also did the Brook and Brax versus Pandemic. A free download that we have on our website as well. And we're just trying to get bigger and better and trying to improve, and we definitely appreciate everybody's support.
Well, I want to give big ups to Katrina Tehador for
Katrina too. Shout out to Katrina
for putting us together. She's been on the podcast too, and I met up with her at a Comic-Con. I get to DJ Comic-Cons from time to time.
Yeah,
and she's a cosplayer.
Marketing.
Yeah, she's a cosplayer, marketing.
Cosplay. Katrina's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm glad that she put us together. Now, I don't want this to be the last time that we talk. When the new books come out and as things progress, if you have other things to say, definitely come on back, man. We'll give you the What Makes You Famous bump. I don't know how good that is. Whatever. My listener.
It's good. It's good by me. That's for sure.
Well, I appreciate you so much, Antonio Lumley. And I usually finish these things off with last words for the people. Antonio Lumley, this could be words that you live by, something that you heard a long time ago, maybe a mantra that you wake up with every morning, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Antonio Lumley, last words for the people.
I would just say everybody work hard, have fun, love, peace, and hair grease to everybody,
Well, there you have it, party people. Antonio Lumley. Oh, my goodness. Find him on Xtatic Books, Xtatic Books.com. And BK, the Brook and Brax. Brook, common spelling, Brook, and Brax, Brax. Those are the characters. Man, I could see, I haven't even read the story, but just the description of the story itself and the little music video that young Pac made, so well done. And just the joy and the excitement that I hear in Antonio's voice when he's talking about his characters. I'm stoked. I'm stoked to hear more. I'm stoked to hear, to see more. And this thing has potential with the thirst that production companies, whether it be television production or movie production or even, comic books, maybe they want to make production of his stories, further out, maybe distributors. But, man, they're thirsty for new stories, for new IP, and I think that this is definitely a thing that could take off, and I want that for Antonio Lumley. I want that for him and his family, for that matter, and the people that are involved, because he's going to take everybody with him. He's going to take all the people that helped him along the way with him. He's that type of dude. I could see it. He's very family oriented and very friend oriented, very community oriented. So it's good getting to know Antonio Lumley. I hope to talk to him again real soon in the future. All right, that's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. Now, if you, yes, you, I'm turning my attention to you, my loyal listener. If you would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.